Today, day 13, I want to share my favorite way of communicating with another person. And if you have seen my other videos, basically I hardly have any people in my life, which is deliberate and my dream come true. That the few I have, very few are few selected, and I also don't expect any of my current connections to last forever, although one or two may, but that would mean changing as we go along, the connection changing, our way of and what we share changing, and everything about us individually as well as the connection changing. So whichever connection survives, that they will stay. We will stay in each other's lives. The ones that don't, that's just fine. There's always love there, and it's never a bad thing or wrong thing. But the way I love connecting and having people in my life is essentially an exchange of monologues. And the way we do it with those few people, we exchange audio messages. So with some people, I do it with WhatsApp app, the app, phone app. And then with another friend, I use just audio software on my phone, and then I upload it to Dropbox and we share it that way, and she does the same. Because for some reason I don't know why we do it that way. We don't have another way, basically. And it's wonderful. It's just so perfect. So one thing I want to say that's so important, that to me it makes this way of communicating beautiful, and yet possibly and potentially kind of not unacceptable, but too unconventional and too different from what conventionally is considered communication is considered to be, and communication between two people. And this thing is that, so let's say I would leave a message anything between 5 minutes to an hour, depending, and then whenever, sometimes within the same day, within the same week, sometimes it takes a couple of months to hear back from the other person. And then, but the beauty, this unconventional piece that is actually critical to the health of the connection, is that the response sometimes does not address a single thing I said. And this is nothing to do with the time gap. It can be an immediate response, and it has, or relatively quick, within a day, like I say, a few hours. And it's still not always. Sometimes it will very much address, but like I say, regularly it will not address a single thing that I have shared. And it will just be that person's story, their own monologue as to where they are and what they're going through and all that. And it's the most freeing, most spacious, most beautiful way of encountering another being, another human, another person. And I want this to be the only way I communicate with the world, with anyone in my life, apart from my parents. But everyone else, this is the way I want to do it, and I'm working on it. So with the old relationships, like that I generally really don't want in my life because I've outgrown them, and that, yeah. But there are some that I cannot, that will always be in my life. That's kind of family, really, mostly. And so I'd love to have this with them as well. And because I certainly don't have any other way of communicating with them other than when we meet up in person. And that I believe would be a way of not kindling, but replanting and reinvigorating and inducing some healthy life back into the connection, which at the moment hardly has anything in it. And as in health-wise, it's not very healthy, or it's just kind of died, or yeah. And basically, sorry, I need to pause, something just distracted me. And the piece about, so for instance, I would imagine that people would typically have a problem with this because they would like, well, like you're not addressing what's been said. But I find, so, if whatever I speak, whoever comes back to you, they don't address anything that you've shared yourself, it can feel like you haven't been seen or heard. But I actually find, I suppose this is just down to individuals, and that's how you decide whether connection is right for you or not. And I had one connection where this was the case, where I actually truly felt unseen and unheard, not in a horrible way, but in a way that it just seemed to not have landed anywhere in that person's sphere and, you know, energetic whatever. And eventually that became like futile. Like what was the connective tissue? There wasn't any. So sorry, there are many people walking past here. I don't know if they want anything. Anyway, and that eventually died out or dried out, the connection. But there was still some that are definitely, you know, nurturing and potent and good, if you like, healthy, right? Where I don't get, you know, nothing is of what I'm saying addressed necessarily or responded to, but it doesn't feel like I'm being unseen at all, because either it's addressed later on in a different way, or I can just feel that, you know, my content has made way to them and has kind of almost like fertilized them to give me something back, and it's grown from what I shared, but not, it wasn't a matter of like ticking a to-do list, like, okay, so you said that, let me just respond to this, let me respond to that. So you kind of feel that it feels that it has landed and it has done something to the other person. It has kind of found a place in them, and that is, maybe in some future time I will have actually, you know, a specific definition of what this is and how it actually works. But at the moment it's just a matter of feeling. And then equally, when in the past, and I'm talking many years ago, in a sort of more traditional, conventional way of communicating, I remember always feeling, whenever there was that kind of back and forth, like, okay, so I gave you this, so you respond with the, you know, addressing all that and blah, blah, and then back, and like I do the same back. There was a sense of work, like chore, like, you know, it's a chore to do that. And I felt like something kind of not died. Well, yeah, but not in a, you know, I don't mean this any kind of excessive or dramatic sense. Just literally something just kind of dims in terms of the connection. It's like, oh, okay, so they're just doing it, going through the motions. And it's not judgment on them, but it's you know, I did it. I used to do it as well. So it's not, you know what I mean? I'm not judging ever. I'm just saying how I feel. It's not, just, there's no vibrancy to it. There is no, you know, it's all a bit flat. And the moment it goes flat, time to go or time to address. And that will be another video, because that involves dialogue, and that is the toughest part to do well. But maybe, yeah, another day I'll be talking about that.